health or his mental acuity. And today, I have not had a single constituent call me about Joe Biden. I have honestly not had time to think about Joe Biden.
This comes as book after book continues to be released of President Biden's presidency, unraveling what allegedly happened behind the walls of the White House. Saturday Night Live even took a jab at the Democratic base.
According to a new tell-all book, Biden's inner circle revealed that they were worried the president would need a wheelchair in his second term, especially after they were all done stabbing him in the back.
Yeah, joining us now is Ashlee Stephenson, a Republican strategist, and Mally Smith, the Democratic strategist. Mally, let me start with you. What was your initial reaction to hearing this recording, this growing talk now around a potential or alleged cover-up of Biden's mental fitness while he was in office?
Look, I worked for the Biden campaign. I worked in the Biden administration, and I think he is a good man and he was a great president, but I don't think he should have run for re-election. The reporting that's come out has made it clear that he was not able to message effectively his administration's accomplishments, and that he should have passed the torch to a new generation of leader, which is what he said originally he was going to do when he ran in his first campaign. So again, I think he's a great man and has been a great president. But if we had a different nominee, I think we would have been more likely to keep the White House. It would have been difficult with the headwinds of inflation, but I think it would have been more likely if we had a different nominee sooner.
Ashlee, Republicans are obviously, seizing on this. Why do you think so?
Look, there's an old saying in politics, Alicia, when you're explaining, you're losing. And here we are almost a year later after that June 27th debate. Democrats effectively kicked Biden from the ticket 3 weeks later. And it's unbelievable, I'm sure, if you're a Democratic operative, that you're having to litigate this over and over again. And even David Plouffe, it was released last week, said this was a total nightmare. So while Democrats should be trying to get organized and be ready for the future and the next election on the horizon, they're still talking about the Biden administration. And they're going to have, I think, some serious ramifications for that.
Yeah, our partners at the Hill are reporting that Democrats want Biden to take responsibility for former Vice President Kamala Harris's defeat against Trump, with former Democratic Representative Beto O'Rourke even slamming Biden now for trying to, quote, sell that he was the only candidate to defeat Trump, that would be able to defeat Trump. Mally, let me ask you this. Do you agree with this growing dissent that is coming from your party of Biden staying in this race? And is it a little too late?
Yeah, there's not going to be some moment where Biden comes out and says, you know what, guys, I made a mistake here and I'm the reason we lost the White House. That's not going to happen. I think the question is, for Democrats moving forward, what do we do to position ourselves to win the midterms and then to build up our credibility to win the White House again in 2028? I think that's going to involve two things. I think first, it's going to, for the Democrats who said, we had to run with Biden, maybe admit some mea culpa there and say, look, that wasn't the right decision. I was operating off the intel I had, but, knowing what I know now, that's not something I would do again. And it also means...
No, continue, I'm sorry.
I was going to say it also means articulating an agenda that speaks to the American people. And that agenda would be an agenda of lowering costs and expanding economic opportunity. I think if we do those two things, we'll be in a good place for the midterms and 2028.
Yeah, midterms seemingly around the corner. They come faster than we think. Ashlee, I'm curious to you. Do you think that Biden should be held more accountable? And what do you say to those that are saying, listen, this is the past. We're beating a dead horse here?
Look, I think it's just such a great distraction, Alicia. I mean, what difference does it make at this point? Why should the former president come out and say, I'm sorry? The Democratic Party, who I don't really want to give advice to, needs to be looking future. What is ahead? Who are your new messengers? Who are your messages? This is such a distraction. And when chairman of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, potentially gets back to work, as he said he's going to this week, to open an investigation as to what was really going on with this cover-up, this is going to be the gift that just keeps on giving and a real thorn in the side for Democrats trying desperately to turn the page.
Yeah, let me get to this. I want to go back to that Saturday Night Live sketch. There was a sketch actually during the show that breaks the fourth wall. It was in the cold open. I don't know if you saw it, but it was Trump flirting with the audience. Just take a look really quickly.
get up. Go ahead, get up, get out of there. Let me sit here. Yeah, go in there. Go eat sun chips in the hallway. I'm here to break the fourth wall. Oh, it's nice here with all the young, pretty people. Hello. Look at her. Wow. 7s or more.
All right, Ashlee, this was the last episode of the season, obviously not failing to get in one more jab at the president. Is this fair to Trump?
It's comedy, Alicia. You know, it's Saturday night. It's comedy. Here's what I think matters this week following what was a terrific trip for President Trump to the Middle East. He delivered a very serious message where even Democrats, and this is really amazing and tough to do in this moment, Democratic Party leadership and serious elected officials were saying from a bipartisan perspective, he had a great week in the Middle East. So, you know, SNL can have all the fun that they want. It's Saturday night. Sometimes people need to kick back and relax, have a laugh in what is a very tough business. But the president had a great week the last 7 days overseas.
Mally, I want to get your thoughts. Is there ever going to be a time where Trump's not at odds with SNL?
Probably not, but Trump did have a great week in the Middle East. He was gifted a $400 million plane from Qatar, a plane that he says is going to be for the U.S. government, but we're not even going to get until the end of his term, and then it will be given to his library. And I highly doubt, and I'm willing to make a bet with anyone on this network, that he will be flying it as a private citizen after his term is over. So he did have a great time in the Middle East, but that's because he's accepting gifts for himself and not fighting for the American people.
We're going to have to leave it there, but I will tell you from a journalist perspective and from a network perspective, this is something we'll continue to watch. Mally Smith and Ashlee Rich Stephenson, thank you so much for joining us. All right, history in the